Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode, Volume 1, Episode 2 of Two Guys Talking. This time we are joined by half of a person.
Yes, Baloo, the dog.
Baloo, the dog. So you will hear Jingle Jangle walking around, he just laid down, so let's hope that yawn was a precursor to
The harbinger of sleep.
hour-long nap while we talk right in front of him. I doubt that's going to be a thing.
Hopefully we're boring enough to put him straight to sleep.
That is the hope. That is the hope, Jesse. Yes. So we're back. I'm Josh. That's Jesse.
Hi.
We're going to ramble again for about an hour about clam chowder, Chick-fil-A, other assorted things.
And our other corporate sponsor,
And-
Little Caesars Pizza.
Yeah, and possibly Tim Allen again, because Tim Allen came up twice.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the Tim Allen thing,
Yeah.
actually.
I mean, if you watched what I put on YouTube, I had
I
Tim
did,
Allen, a
yeah.
Tim Allen picture twice. The second time, I timed it perfectly.
Oh, really? I need to go through it again.
You should probably listen to the thing that you produced.
I forced Christina to listen to it for like...
You did?
Yeah, and
For like, how long?
for like 15 minutes, and she's like, can you just turn on music now? Or I was like, yes.
That's sad. Your own fiance doesn't want to hear you talk.
She's probably sick of it.
Yeah.
She gets enough,
Your babble is nonsense.
basically.
Assorted nonsense. So this episode, I don't really have a super great idea what we're going to talk about. It's going to be random stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
lots
sure
of
some of the stuff we just talked about right before we turn this on, we're going to talk about a little bit.
Jaguar update, by the way.
Jaguar up. Oh, you have an
I figured
Jaguar
out why they
update?
shot the Jaguar.
Oh, well, that's probably
Yes.
where we're going to start.
So he was selling CDs outside.
Oh, God. That's horrible. That's horrible. I'm really sorry. That was really too soon. Funny. But too soon.
You can totally edit this out. But
No, I can't, though. I mean, I
I literally
probably...
don't know how.
I probably... Yeah, it's in there forever now.
Damn it.
That's why I always suggest you let's do this live. Fuck it. We'll
Yeah.
do it live.
We'll do it live. Bill O'Reilly style.
Fuck it. We'll do it live. That's why I always say we just got to do it live on the Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
Because we just then we got a live situation. We can't unfuck what we did. We just got to go with it.
But no, yeah, seriously. The Jaguar, he got shot basically. It was after like the ceremony, I guess, and he lunged at a guard of some sort.
Oh yeah, spectator.
Yeah. Well,
Or
no,
guard.
it was like a security guard that was
Okay.
like in charge of the Jaguar.
Uh-huh.
And I guess they like shot him with a tranquilizer, and they were like, "Oh, fuck it,
Fuck it. Let's just kill him.
yeah, let's just kill it."
We got more. This is Brazil. They're crawling with jaguars. Come to
Yeah.
Brazil. We're
I mean,
crawling with
they're
jaguars.
they're still. I mean, they're not least concern on Wikipedia anymore, but they're still, they're getting to be threatened. I guess.
Okay, just not in Brazil.
but- yeah, I mean, Brazil has a plethora of jaguars.
That's good.
Yeah, they're exporting them.
They export them.
Yeah.
They import-export
Yeah,
jaguars.
that's true.
Okay, that doesn't seem right.
It
Did you see
doesn't.
there was a some kind of thing on July 4th, and I think it was a baseball.
Oh, it's America's
game.
birthday, actually.
I think it was a baseball game where they let an eagle go from the top of a stadium, and the eagle was to fly down to its handler, and it immediately decided, "Freedom, goddammit," and it flew out of the stadium. Now it did finally return to its handler at some point, but it did decide on the most independency of all days to grant its own independence
I mean,
for a few short seconds.
He probably the handler probably taught it that, like, this is America. Be free.
Be free on the most independency of all
Yes.
days. Well, we should probably start with that. That part where I skipped over last time to get to the Jaguar.
Yeah.
The get to know a podcaster better, and
Yeah.
we do like a question to each other.
Oh, I've actually been writing down good things about my life.
Oh yeah.
To try.
So
and
you're not going to
more
be
like-
as shitty of a person this time.
Yeah, I just after listening to it, I was like, I am a cynical.
You just said you did listen
bastard.
to it.
Well, after listening to, I listened to it. Christina got about
Oh.
15 minutes in.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I
my
didn't
wife
watch-
didn't listen to it at all, and nor showed zero interest.
Well, she pretty much treats this as like a little like insane hobby. Like,
She's-
yeah,
yeah.
honey, like go for it. Fuck it.
Yeah, the hope is that the hope of any person that's doing a podcast is to get insanely rich doing it,
I mean, pretty
and then
much, yeah.
immediately leave whoever you're with for someone hotter.
That's the formula I figured out for all country music stars. Not a personal fan myself, but I've researched this because
Yeah.
Christina is, and like Jason Aldean.
Yeah.
This one comes to mind. Like he was with his like high school sweetheart, married her. I think they have like a few kids, if I'm not mistaken. And like right after getting famous, like ditched her for a model.
Well, that's just smart business practices.
Same thing with like Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
just good business.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
Yeah. That's like Mad Money. That's that Kramer guy. I think the first thing he talks about on every episode is
Where like the bald guy yells about stocks and
yeah,
shit.
he smacks a button and yells, "Leave that bitch."
I've never watched Mad Money.
I have every now and then. I mean, it's not
like I've seen it like in hospitals. And
I wouldn't
shit.
say it's worth it. No, I would say it's the there's a comedic value of watching a bald ginger scream at you.
You know what I feel it's lost its comedic value a little bit here, and I'm sorry to go off. It'll be
That's
a very
fine.
small tangent, but
That's
PTI.
PTI.
I used to love PTI. And I
Pardon the
feel like-
interruption. You're talking about
yeah,
the show
Yeah.
on ESPN.
Yeah.
Is that our corporate sponsor this time? ESPN.
ESPN. Challenge everything. Oh wait, that's
That's something else.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's not ESPN.
Okay. Anyway.
Welcome back, Baloo.
Yes. Hello. Baloo's a Shiba Poo.
Yeah, Sheepoo. What were you saying?
Okay.
Get back to your stupid thing.
No, I was just saying like PTI. I feel like it used to be really funny, and now like the two guys just kind of like hate themselves and just kind of like
What, Tony and I forget the Wilbon?
Yeah.
Tony Kornheiser
I don't really know their
and
names.
something Wilbon. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They've gotten older.
I just
They've
feel like they're
definitely
just
gotten
like,
older.
yeah, here's the facts about this, and like they
Yeah.
might fight like once.
Yeah, they've definitely gotten older, and I mean, there's no real reason for them to fight anymore because they're probably friends
Yeah.
at this point. So who cares if they fight? You know,
Touche.
they're actual friends. We know they're friends off of like not during TV time.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just a bastard consumer.
So what are some of the good things that you came up with for yourself that you're gonna share with the world? I mean, did you write them down? Do you want to share them? Do you want to wait?
I'm
And
gonna
just-
wait till I accumulate. I got like 2.
Oh, you have 2.
Yeah.
So you said things, and I thought things was plural, and technically two is plural,
Yeah.
but it's not very much plural. It's like the least amount of plural you can get, and still be plural.
But that's how you got to go sometimes. That's
With
how
the
it is.
least amount possible.
The bare absolute minimum.
I mean, that's first of all, that's probably how you get ahead in business. You know,
Yeah.
that's one of the things I would guess that if you would ask people who are successful podcasters like Bill Burr and
Bill Burr's podcast is fucking great, by the way. I just
and who's Mark Maron.
who is Mark Maron?
I don't know.
I know the name.
He's a comedian,
Yeah.
and he has his podcast, and it's very self-loathing, so you would enjoy it.
I
Very
probably would.
self-deprecating.
I listen to the Nerdist one a lot. The Chris Hardwick.
Nerdist, yeah,
I
Nerdist is
like that one a lot.
he
Matt Myra's fucking hilarious.
oh yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
So we should get to know let the podcasters know a little bit more about us
All right.
while Baloo is trying to murder the cord.
Yes.
Get out from there, Baloo. This is not going to
Oh,
work out
shit.
for you.
Oh, here it goes.
There, we fixed it.
Dog's dead.
We fixed it. The dog's dead. Nobody come and check on the dog. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. All right. I guess a good question to ask is to better get to know us. We talked a little bit about what before. I mean, we said, "What's your life's greatest achievement?" We kind of ended up having to go to like what your future, what you want to do with your life, because you didn't have a greatest achievement other than not working in the food industry anymore, which was a sad statement about your life up until this point. But what do you want to like? Let's say you're trapped, marooned on an island, as it were, and you can take 3 things and have 1 person with you.
Okay.
What are those 3 things, and what's the 1 person?
Let's see. Do I have access to the internet?
3 things. You can take 3 things.
Does the internet count as
As
a
a thing, you can take the internet. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So it will be internet, this microphone, a laptop, and you.
That is sweet. That is just adorable.
No, but
Now you made me feel bad if
I
you're
know.
going to say that's not real.
yeah, it's not real. I'm sorry.
Horrible. I felt good for a second. It was all taken away.
No, if I had to take 3 things, it'd probably be I have this like huge ass compendium of all the Chronicles of Narnia
Uh-huh.
that I got when I was like 12.
Yeah.
And I'd probably bring that because I could just read it a bajillion times.
Okay.
I'll bring Christina along.
Yeah.
'cause-
Your person's Christina.
Yes.
So you'd bring a bunch of books and a woman.
Well, the book just counts as one thing.
Right. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So far, you bring a bunch of books,
Uh-huh.
and your one person is your woman,
Christina.
right?
And then
This will be the 15 minutes she listens to this time. And you know what? We're only at 10, so she gets off easy.
yeah.
Once she hears her name once, she can be like, "That's it.
Yeah.
I've gone far enough.
Yeah.
I've done enough." And you know what? This is going to be real off topic. I'm pretty sure that I was behind her going to work
Oh,
recently.
really?
I'm pretty sure I was.
What's
She drives a gray hatchback of some sort.
Yeah, Ford Focus.
A Focus? Yeah, I was behind her, I think, because I went when I was.
I'm sorry, she was probably going like 45 miles an
She
hour.
drives. No, she was driving fast as shit. She was way ahead of me.
Really?
No,
That's surprising because she
I-
drives like a fucking grandma.
I was attempting to eat a bagel from McDonald's and drink extremely hot coffee whilst driving.
Fun.
So I needed to pay a little bit more attention to the road. Plus, I was watching YouTube. So I had a lot going on that I really shouldn't have been doing
You
while I
probably
was driving.
shouldn't watch YouTube while driving. Like,
Well,
I
I
kind of
like-
cut the line at
Yeah,
like.
well, I listen to YouTube, really.
Oh, gotcha. Doing blue. Anyway,
So you bring a bunch of books.
book Christina. Probably bring a Game Boy.
One Game Boy,
Yeah.
no games.
Oh yeah. I mean, no wait.
That would have to be a third thing. Now you're screwed.
Oof. Oof. Okay. Well.
You're not good at this game.
Yeah, I'm really bad at this. You know, these types of things. Yeah, Game Boy, and then some sort of Pokemon game. 'cause
Some
those
sort of
are-
Pokemon game.
Yeah, I mean, those-
Red, black,
You know, I have
Diamond, Pearl.
I have the Y, the X and the Y one. So
Oh,
I
yeah?
just got a 3DS and it came with
Okay.
it. So well,
I see.
yeah, let's bring that.
I see. Not the Sun and the Moon ones. Those are the new ones, I think.
Those are the new ones that are coming out. I mean, I don't know if I'll get those. New ones
Sun
yet.
and Moon.
I might, because they're really.
This episode brought to you by ESPN
Yeah, ESPN
and Pokemon.
and Pokemon. Pokemon Go comes out soon.
What I would bring with me is a very expensive yacht with a pool, plenty of gas to get me back to the mainland, and my person I'd bring with me is a boat captain who could sail me back to the mainland.
I don't know if that counts.
That absolutely counts.
I thought it was something that you have, like something that you physically own.
Oh, currently? Oh, it's
Yeah.
got to be something I own already. Okay, well, it's got to be. I didn't put any rules out there. I said any 3 things and any person. So I outsmarted my own. I was just being really. That was a real dickhead move too, because like that was my. You know what I'm realizing right now? That was my question I asked, and then
Yeah.
I went meh all over it, because I got to be a smartass.
Fuck my question.
No matter what happens. So if it's stuff I have, I'm gonna bring my wife, because it sounds weird to say that right after stuff I have, but I'm gonna bring my wife.
Mhm.
I'd bring my. I don't really have a lot of other stuff that I give a crap about. My laptop, so I could continue to write. I would bring. See, if I bring my TV, it's kind of pointless because I can't plug it into anything. Though I do love my TV. I don't have a generator. I'd bring a generator so I can plug my fridge in.
Yeah.
How about my laptop, my wife, my portable grill? That way I can grill stuff, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And whatever kind of lighters I have in this house,
Okay.
so I can constantly start fire.
That makes sense. I approve of all that stuff.
Yeah. And any Deer Park water I have. So 4 things.
And then would the island turn out to be purgatory? And we have to go back once we get off the island?
No, I don't know what that means. Is that the Lost reference?
It's indeed a Lost reference.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that what Lost ended up being? Purgatory?
I never finished it, but that's what I hear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows what it was? If anybody can explain to us what Lost is in the comments, that'd be super great. We would love to know. I mean, I wouldn't because I never watched a single episode of Lost.
Yeah, I mean, the first 3 seasons, I'd say, were good. After that, it kind of...
I'm a very odd TV watcher. Like, I'll give you an example. I never watched one single episode of Lost, even though people say it's so good. I watched the last 6 episodes in a row, like binge watched the last 6 episodes in a row of Game of Thrones for the first season, and then completely stopped watching it.
Okay.
Because I started reading the books right afterwards.
Yeah.
Because I found out they were books. So I read the books, and then I decided that I didn't want to watch the show anymore because I didn't get HBO, and trying to find it online was
a pain in the ass.
"quote unquote" too hard. Even though I can guarantee you this weekend I will be illegally streaming UFC 200 on my laptop, so I could very easily find a live pay-per-view event because I know like 4 websites to go to.
Yeah.
To illegally stream that for free, but I won't find a way.
See, I
to
have
watch
a
Game of
thing
Thrones.
With Game of Thrones, kind of similar thing. I mean, I've seen them all pretty much now. I think there's like a random episode in like the 3rd season I missed, but you know, I've seen pretty much all of them. I own the 1st season on DVD. The 2nd one I downloaded off of the Pirate Bay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Also, that's another corporate sponsor of ours,
Yeah.
Pirate Bay.
Pirate Bay.
Are they still around?
I
don't know if they're
man.
still around.
I've been pirated.
I saw their documentary recently.
Oh, really?
The Pirate Bay documentary. It's actually not bad.
I'll have to give it a
I mean,
watch.
it did make you feel like there was a portion of it, well, at least for me anyway, that I'm like, these Swedish assholes are dicks. Like the Pirate Bay guys. I'm like, I don't want them to win. I want them to lose. Can they lose, please? And then they kind of won. I don't know. It was very confusing to me.
Yeah, I haven't gotten too much into it yet, but yeah, basically, so I first one DVD, second one off Pirate Bay. Then I started getting the letters from like my internet company being like, "Hey, stop fucking stealing shit."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Too much Pirate Bay.
Yeah. Well, because I like downloaded it all at once, and I forgot to not seed it, and then all that shit.
Well, that's not good, man.
Yeah.
Can't be illegally downloading shit.
No. And then I pretty much have just mooched off people with HBO for the last. What season are we on? Like 4?
1,000.
Yeah.
I think it's 1,000.
And then I also started reading the books.
What book are you on?
I need to finish the last one. It's kind of a hard read for me.
The 5th one's the hard read for you?
The Dance with Dragons.
Yeah, that's a hard read for you?
I can't get into it as much as the other ones. I feel like all the character chapters I'm getting to kind of suck right now.
Yeah. Well, see, my problem was always the one right before Dance with Dragons. It was
Feast of Crows. That one sucked.
Because Feast of Crows is what.
Well, it's a lot of exposition, I feel.
Well, book 4 and 5, which is Feast of Crows and Dance of Dragons, is actually technically one book. When he originally wrote the 4th book, it was so long that the publisher told him he have to split it up into 2 books. And
then he came out with it 15 years later.
And instead of publishing it in 2 books, like, hey, timeline wise, like, I'm gonna give you Feast of Crows up until this timeline, jumping back and forth between the characters like I do. Mm-hmm. What I'm gonna do is give you the exact same timeline between 4 and 5, but I'm gonna split up the characters. So Jon Snow isn't in 4 at all.
Yeah, neither is Daenerys.
Daenerys isn't in 4 at all. Arya is not in 4 at all. So like every character I like, that I identified with, that I liked the best, was all in 5. So 4 was the hardest read for me. Feast of Crows was the hardest read for me.
It was hard.
I just kept not giving a shit about everything that was happening.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's been a few years now since I read that one, and like I've just been attempting to read Dance with Dragons, but I can't really. See, I don't. To be honest, I'm not a huge Daenerys person.
Oh, I like Daenerys.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's the queen of dragons.
Yeah.
She came out of the fire nude.
Yeah, no, she did. And I mean, I don't know. The whole thing, with me, it just like there's like, well, I'm not gonna spoil it.
She had Drago dump hot molten gold on her brother's fucking head.
That was pretty cool, admittedly. Yeah. But anyway.
What were you not going to spoil? Just spoil it.
Well, I don't know. Like, there's too many like Targaryens in the mix now. Like, there's like that, like the guy who's with the Griff guy.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be like the not dead baby, but might be. And then there's, the whole thing with Jon Snow's parentage, which was revealed on the show.
Right. Which probably spoiled the books, because in the books you don't know that yet.
Yeah, but I think that's a pretty good theory.
I mean, it's heavily hinted at in the books, but that doesn't mean anything. He heavily hinted at a lot of stuff in those books, and then it wasn't either wasn't true or whatever.
Like, I'm kind of curious or not, like if he, if he gave them this like D&D this information,
Mm-hmm.
or if he was just like, or if they were just like, ah, fuck it, we'll just go with like.
I think he
the
told him.
prevailing
I think
theory.
he told him because I think he likes to be. I
Yeah.
think George R.R. Martin likes to be involved with the show more than the book. 'Cause I think he thinks writing the books is too hard and doing the show is a lot easier.
Too hard. Fucking all these fucking words. I
think he's
type.
I think he's a big fatty piece of shit, and he's taking too long to write his stupid fucking
Well,
stories.
apparently he's been like pissed off at the showrunners lately.
Well, who cares? Fuck
yeah,
'em.
that's true.
Fuck that whole thing. Doesn't matter to me. I hope the whole thing's different. The only thing I heard that hasn't happened yet is there's a point in the stories, and spoiler, I don't care. There's a point in the stories where
Are you going Lady Stoneheart?
yeah, where she
Apparently, it's not happening.
John's mom, not mom. It's not John's mom. It's
Lady
Rob's
Stark.
mom.
Yeah.
Is killed at the Red Wedding,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or supposedly killed. You think she's killed,
Oh no, she
and
did.
then at the end of that same book where she's killed, the Red Wedding, the book where the Red Wedding
Yeah.
happens, which I
Storm of
believe
Swords.
is book 2,
3.
3.
Yeah.
The very same book. Every book has a prologue and an epilogue, and in every prologue, there's a little story that
There's someone who dies.
there may not be a story. Yeah, somebody dies,
Yeah.
but it's like a little mini story of a person
Yeah.
that actually is important for like later, and not really even in that maybe book. Maybe 2 books from now, you'll look back at that prologue and you'll be like, oh shit,
Let me just say,
that means something.
he writes the best prologues in all of
Yeah.
fantasy. Like, I'm
And-
trying to write a prologue right now, and it's terrible. I don't want to get into it, but like I've read a shit ton of books, and most of them are fantasy.
For the most part, I like the way he writes. I mean, if it wasn't
Yeah.
for the fact that the only 2 things that kind of frustrate me is that the 3 things: how long it takes him to write a book,
Yeah.
right? How much aggressive detail he goes into the male penis within the books. Like he
See,
really enjoys
I don't know
giving
if-
you a direct picture of dick,
Yeah, I see. I haven't. I honestly, I forget.
and that was more in like book 1 and 2. Like he stopped doing it in 3, 4, and 5, but then 3, 4, and
Yeah.
5 got more into like this crazy like wildfire shit and dragons
Yeah.
and war and fucking other crazy nonsense and whatever.
There's a lot of shit going on in the books.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the books. You got to pay attention when you're reading them. I mean, but in the book, in the end of the 3rd one, after she dies, the epilogue in that book is fucking Lady Stark comes back, all like kind of not really zombified, like alive but not alive, and like
Yeah,
her jaw like half hanging off and shit, and like terrifying to
Yeah,
whoever she's around.
She's super gray, and she has like the slit because her throat got slit, so like she has like the slash in her throat, and she like can't really like talk that great.
Right, and she has like these people that are serving her that are just straight murder,
Yeah, it's just
murder machines.
the Brotherhood without banners.
Right,
Yeah.
the murder machines that just straight murder things, kill that just kill.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have to say anything. She just like points or does whatever, and then they murder
Yeah.
for her,
Go kill. Go kill it.
which is good. Which is a good thing to see. But I like that. I wish that was in the shows, but I heard that's not going to be. in
Yeah,
the
I don't
shows.
know why they're not doing, because they like literally at the. I mean, I honestly I did 100% expect it at the end of this last season, because this last season of the show, it was all about resurrection.
Right.
Like that was. I feel like that was like the main theme of it. Or like one of the main themes, because I mean, like the Hound came back in the show.
The mountain's back.
Yeah, I mean the Mountain's kind of. I mean, you kind of figured he was back, but like he's like really actually revealed to be back.
Yeah,
John comes back.
of course, nobody
you
dies.
know. I think there's a lot of people who also kind of like change too.
Yeah.
Like Bran's like kind of a badass now a little bit, but not
Well,
really.
He should be a badass.
Yeah. So there's just like a lot of it's like resurrection and change, and then like at the end it just kind of like goes back to. I mean, it doesn't go back to anything. There's still a lot of change, but I just feel like they could have put her in there like at the end.
Would have
been
been nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been cool.
All right, enough about Game of Thrones. Shut up.
Okay. Fine.
That seems like all of a sudden. It seems like I got really angry and just all of a sudden yelled at you, when in fact minutes have passed and they have no idea.
Exactly.
The listening
Mere
audience
minutes.
has no idea.
Anyway.
All right, enough about Game of Thrones.
Yes.
So that was a little bit more about us, right?
Yeah.
And I think we would be remiss if we're going to talk about current events to not talk about. I don't want to talk about Hillary Clinton's nonsense because two things. I have not done enough research on it. And in all honesty, I am a little overwhelmed by politics right now.
Yeah, same.
And I think that's because I blew my load last episode about politics, and then I got me thinking, and I overanalyzed things like normal, and then I did a bunch of research for like a hot day, and I got really depressed.
Why'd you get really depressed?
I got really, because I started researching all these things about who these other candidates are, and who who's the Green Party candidate, and who is who's Gary Johnson,
And none of them stand up.
None of them make. It's hard. First of all, it's not hard to find information on them. It's easy to find information on them. But then you start wondering to yourself how much of those things are true, because then you start thinking to yourself all the times that you went online and found stuff about Trump or found stuff about Clinton that were half true.
Yeah.
And like how much of the stuff is true, and then you start questioning yourself and questioning everything you're doing, and then you end up being in this situation where you're not sure if what you're reading is true or not true, and you can't, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean...
I call it a spiral.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, my whole thing with it is, like, you're not going to change most people who you're going to get into arguments with about politics, you're not going to, like, change their mind.
That's true.
About it. Like, no one's going to be like, oh, yeah, I guess I'm fucking liberal now. Or,
yeah, well, I mean, like, you walked in on me watching CNN, and on CNN was a Donald Trump rally, which was a hard watch in and of itself. I mean, the guy spent 15 minutes of that rally talking about how he hates CNN. Then the very first thing out of his mouth was, if you don't like... He goes, I don't watch CNN anymore anyway, because if you don't like something, just stop watching it. And I would have loved it. And CNN didn't do this. They just let him keep going, right? I would have loved it if CNN cut to Wolf Blitzer's Situation Room, that was the show I was watching. And they went, well, taking a cue from our good friend Donald Trump, since we don't like what we're watching, we're going to go ahead and change the channel and take him off the television. But that didn't happen, unfortunately.
But yeah, I mean, in regards to the whole Hillary thing, I mean, I have an opinion on it, and it's really not worth it.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it. I'd rather get into something far heavier.
Yeah.
Two dudes shooting a third dude.
Yeah.
And obviously we're talking about Alton. I think it's Alton Sterling.
Yes, Alton Sterling.
In Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm sure by this point everybody that's listening to this, the whole 5 people, and 2 that may have been forced and may not be to this point or ever listen to this point of the podcast, has seen at least one, if not both, or probably by now maybe a third or fourth of the disturbing videos that have been out there. I say disturbing because, like, the first thing I thought, Jesse, when I saw that this morning was, like, absolute... Like, I felt disappointed and disgusted, and I felt a certain way. Like, I felt like I just watched a guy get killed. Like, I just watched a guy get killed.
That would be because you kind of did.
And it's not... the problem for me is like, the first thing I thought of wasn't I saw a black guy get killed by 2 white cops. What I saw was, and what I think I saw and what I think I heard was, I think and you said before when we were talking 6 shots, I thought maybe I heard 7 or 8. But the bottom line is, I think what I saw was 2 average to above average gentlemen holding a third above average gentleman who they should be able to restrain down, who was squirming and was trying to get free most likely, telling him to stop resisting or whatever. And at some point, both of them, almost at the exact same time, which was interesting, so obviously something happened that told both of them that they needed to pull their guns out. Because if you watched that video, no matter what video you watch, both officers pull their guns at almost eerily the exact same time.
Yeah.
So something had to happen that their training made them believe they need to pull their weapons, because they didn't go for their taser, they didn't go for a baton.
Well, apparently they had already tasered him.
Okay.
Apparently you can see that in the video. I haven't spent too much time watching any of the videos, but. And
then what I see is those 2 gentlemen that pulled those 2 guns. I think I hear, I don't know how many shots, but a lot of shots at exceedingly close range. So I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what the threat was. I mean, obviously it was probably a very high threat. I find it interesting that I'm watching some of the news today, and the Baton Rouge police officers, captain and lieutenant, is saying that they can't recover like the footage from the body cams that the both officers had on is not good
Shocker.
because somehow the body cams were dislodged during the scuffle or during the incident. So I find it interesting that they can't use those.
Naturally.
I also find it interesting that the both not those, I don't know if it was those officers, but I heard officers on scene at some point almost immediately took the footage from the security footage from the general store.
Yeah.
And didn't just take the footage; they took his whole system so that he couldn't get it. So they have it; it's theirs.
Yeah.
Now, according to the Baton Rouge Police, they've turned all this stuff over to the federal investigator that's there. I guess there's a federal United States, some kind of United States federal investigator that's there now investigating this. It's like I said before. What strikes me is I'm watching two people kill another person. Like nowhere in anything that I just went over did I even touch on the fact that the gentleman's black and the two officers are white. And this is really the first time I'm addressing that. And like, does that matter? Yeah, that does matter. Right? I'm not gonna. If for me to sit here, especially, and this is going to sound like people may take this the wrong way, but especially as a white male, for me to sit here and not acknowledge that that's what it was is stupid.
Agreed. Yeah.
But at the same time, I also would like to say that like it's interesting. What struck me first wasn't that it was two white men and one black man. What struck me was that I just saw two guys kill another guy.
What struck me was the video I saw. I mean, the one that apparently it was like the convenience store footage or whatever, and they blocked out a good majority of it. But I mean, when they stopped blocking it out after the shots were fired, there was blood all over the car. And I mean, blood's red no matter, what race a person is. It's still like terrible.
Yeah, I mean it's a horrible thing, and I hope we figure out what actually. I mean, the only people that are ever going to actually know what legitimately happened that day, and maybe more will. Maybe there's going to be stuff that comes out that we're going to find out exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I wholly doubt that in a situation like this.
Same.
But the only people that really know right now exactly what happened are those two officers and the third gentleman that unfortunately passed. Alton Sterling. So those are the people that know what happened.
Yeah.
And the only people that know why they acted the way they acted are, again, those three people.
Yeah.
And is it ever going to come out, the real reasons why all three of them acted the way they acted? I'm going to say 100% not, because you're never going to know why Alton acted the way he acted.
Yeah.
You can speculate, but you're never going to know.
Yeah.
And I would also highly doubt that either officer will ever tell you truthfully and honestly what was going through their head.
Yeah.
Like, if there was a bit of racism or nervousness because of racism in their heads, then, yeah, we're never going to know that. They're never going to admit that. I'm going to tread very lightly on this, but I want to go into it, and that's the race issue kind of thing a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not above saying that there been moments where I am in a situation where I am one of the few. Or I become the minority, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm one of the 1 or 2 or 3 white people in an area, and I don't get at least a little nervous depending on where I am. So I've been in situations where I'm in a club or a bar or something, like in Philly or in Baltimore or something like that, and it's me and maybe one other person, or maybe just me. And even if I walk in, like I could be real honest with you. I walked into a bar one time in Philly with 2 friends who were both one was African American, one was Puerto Rican. And I walked into this bar, and the only other white person was the bartender. That was the only other white person in this entire bar with me. And do I want to tell you that I was 100% like confident, not nervous? No, I wasn't. Yeah. I was a little nervous. There was a little bit of nerves in me, and it was interesting because I was analyzing that whole time I was there. Like, why am I nervous?
Yeah.
I know these two. Like, there's only maybe 6 other people in here. Like, what's going to happen? Like, do I think that they were this whole time like, we're going to befriend this fat white man, and then we're going to take him into this bar
and kill you,
rape and murder him? Like, what am I thinking is going to happen? But I guess it's because, my life, if you really look at my life, I didn't really have a lot of chances to interact with anyone of a different skin color than myself. I grew up in Bible T of Pennsylvania, the middle part of Pennsylvania, which is 99.9% white.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way it is. There's not a lot of, some of my friends would say diversities. There's not a lot of minorities in this area, and that's just, you grow up like that. When you grow up like that, sometimes you have a slanted view, even if you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot. I mean, for me, there was a lot of. So and I'm not super proud of this, but Lebanon, right? So there has a kind of a growing Puerto Rican population.
It sure does. Yeah. In these days, sure. Okay.
Yeah, and looking back now, that's totally it's a good thing. Diversity is always a good thing. But being around, basically a bunch of like racist old people growing up, not necessarily like my family or anything like that, but like, friends, parents,
even
some
you hear
teachers.
it. You hear it.
Like I mean,
you hear it.
I had a teacher who called black people Negroes.
If you didn't, if basically in the situations that we both grew up in, if we didn't have at least one interaction when we were younger with someone who was blatantly racist, it's few and far between people that could say that. Now, I will say wholeheartedly that another thing I believe that I know one day is probably either going to get me in trouble is I think racism's kind of funny. And when I say racism's kind of funny, what I mean is like racist jokes or racially charged jokes make me laugh the hardest of anything. Like stuff that's racially charged, or like I have a couple friends in us that joke about horrible things about Jewish people and horrible things about other people. Like they're horrible, terrible things that I shouldn't laugh at, but I think they're hilarious. And I don't know if it's because I'm desensitizing myself to the horribleness of what we're saying, or if I've already been desensitized to it, or if I'm so far above it and think it's so stupid that I think it's funny. Because I don't know what to say. Because I'd like to say that it's a third thing. I'd like to say that I'm so far above being racist and above being sexist and above being judgmental that I can make jokes about, you go to the WNBA to watch fundamentals. Women's soccer athletes don't get paid as much. Well, do something of value like win a World Cup. Make jokes like that are inflammatory and desensitized and ridiculous, because I'd like to believe that the third thing is correct, and I find it silly because I find the whole notion ridiculous.
I think comedy is kind of a separate entity too. Like the whole Jaguar thing, he was at a gas station.
Selling CDs?
I'm a terrible...
we started this off rough.
And like that's... unfortunately, that's like where my mind goes like a lot of the times. Like, just like, immediately after something tragic happens, like 4 hours later, I'll be like, oh, fucking, like the Jaguar thing. Yeah. It just comes to mind. I'm just like, that is way too soon.
Yeah. That's what I call the meh. I'm being a meh.
Yeah. But yeah, and it just people take shit way too offensively. There's like Bill Burr, for instance. Like I think we had mentioned him a little bit earlier, but like a lot of his comedy, people always skew it as he's sexist, he's racist, or he's a fucking comedian. Right. He's making jokes.
And he's pushing the boundary on purpose, possibly.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just, it's you can't make jokes without offending somebody. Like, it's gonna happen.
Well, you're gonna have people that don't like what you say, no matter what you say, no matter who you are. It's just being able to walk the line between what you think is right and what you think is wrong.
And obviously, you can't like pull a Kramer and say the N-word a bunch of times and just think.
Yeah,
there's because he was being super duper serious.
Right.
About it.
You know what? Here's a fun story about the N-word. Right. Yeah. Well, one of my and this actually I think one of my friends that I had in college, I think he actually took this off of like a comedy thing, because I heard it on like a movie or a comedy thing before, and he might have stole it from there, and they might have stole it from somewhere else, who knows. But one of the things he told me, he's African American, a black gentleman, and who, like, in all honesty, when I first met him, and I'm sorry, he wasn't my fraternity brother, he was a roommate of mine. When I first met him,
I just thought of a terrible joke.
His name was I met him, and his name was Stuart, right? So I said, can I call you Stu? And within 24 hours, I changed his name from Stu to Stu Diddy to the Diddy to Stu Daddy to the rapper formerly known as Stu Diddy to the Diddy back to Stu Diddy, and then finally ended with S Diddy.
S Diddy.
Within the course of 24 hours. Now, I know looking back at that now, like, that's kind of funny, and you chuckled a little bit, because that's immediately racist for a white gentleman to immediately say, you're something Diddy, because you're black. But he was telling me, he had a conversation with me, and he said, you know how I know that the N-word is bad and you shouldn't say it? Because you won't even say the word to me.
Yeah, I've heard that with like people like Tom Segura.
Yeah.
He makes a joke about midgets, and apparently like a midget came up to him after one of the shows, and he's like, saying midgets, it's like saying the N-word, and or maybe it's John Mulaney, I don't remember, one of those two.
Yeah.
And he's just like, no, because you didn't say the N-word.
You said N-word instead. Yeah, so it's like the same thing of like, he's like, that's how I know it's bad, right?
Yeah.
And everybody knows what's bad, and I think the problem is sometimes is that
people take themselves too seriously.
What we know is bad, other people may legitimately think isn't bad. You know, like there's pockets of this country that genuinely believe the things that are coming out of, we'll go back to Donald Trump's mouth is not only not racist, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not inflammatory, it's not hate speak, and it's not dividing this country. It's uniting the country, and the people that are the problem, Jesse, aren't them. The people that are the problem are us. The people that are the problem are the ones telling you that's hate speak, because they're all
correct pussies.
Right.
You just want to push the liberal media. Welcome to CNN, motherfuckers.
Yeah, the Clinton. He called it the Clinton News Network during his fucking campaign
speech. Of course he has.
Clinton News Network.
I mean, you know, unfortunately, I have quite a few family members who buy into the spin. I mean, I have an uncle, and if he ever listens to this, he'll know exactly who he is, but he never will.
This will never get any traction. My only hope is that this gets traction because we are two white guys talking about race for roughly like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm not even done.
Oh, good. But no, he sincerely believes that Fox News is not biased towards the Republican Party.
Well, there's people that sincerely believe MSNBC is not biased towards the Democratic Party, and that's ridiculous too.
Yeah, I mean, but like, really?
Yeah. The closest thing to the middle you have is CNBC, which is a business network. That's the closest thing to the middle that you have on a news network right now.
I try not to bother with them. I literally just go off of like what actually happened and not like, and I kind of try and form my opinion from it. It's really hard.
That's hard to do these days.
Yeah, like real hard.
See, what I've found that works for me is that I will watch multiple, like if I'm going to spend 15 minutes of my day watching CNN, I will then devote 15 minutes to watching Fox News.
Well, that's what, when I will
give myself both sides of that story.
Yeah, when I was I was researching the Hillary thing because I wanted to kind of get a little bit more educated on it. And, I did hit up, well, the first thing I went to, I think, was on MSNBC. Then I went to CNN, and then I went to Fox afterwards. And it was pretty predictable what I saw. But, I try to kind of like get both sides of the story just because I want to hear like the critics and the proponents.
Right. You want to hear everything. I mean, you should want to hear everything. I think that's one of the things that frustrates me sometimes about certain people I'll talk to, or this is mean to say too, but now I went from racism to now I'm going to ageism. Certain people of a certain age will tell me that they read whatever online, and then I will ask them if they've read any other competing articles or gone to any other websites, and they will look at me as if I have three heads and they don't have the fucking time of day to read more than one article on one website. And when I bring up to them how skewed that could be, because they're utilizing one news source with one source and one person, their comments back are like, well, they use multiple sources and they've always been fair and balanced and they've always been whatever. And no matter who you talk about,
O'Reilly's a new spin zone, man.
They're skewed in a certain way. Like even you and I are skewed in a certain way.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, there's no debating the fact that like no matter what comes out of Trump's mouth, even if it makes sense, I would tell you he's a dick. No matter what he says.
Yeah. I mean, I try to like keep an open mind just because I truly do believe that like like there's some things on the left I don't absolutely agree with. Like I'm not a huge fan of Hillary Clinton. Regardless of this whole
A lot of
email
people aren't,
shit.
man. You shouldn't be.
I don't think what she did / could possibly be doing is right.
She stands for a lot of negative
Yeah.
things, because I can even pull you the whole way back to, and this is really, really stupid of me to pull the whole way back to, because technically speaking, she should be applauded for the way that she handled her husband's infidelities, because she was, a strong woman through the whole thing.
Yeah.
But my frustration with that is a true strong woman would tell him to go lick a dick on live television and
Yeah.
leave his ass.
Yeah, true. I mean, yeah. I don't really. To be honest, I'm not super duper educated on the whole Clinton thing. I was very, very young when it happened.
Oh, yeah,
I know
see,
that he got his dick sucked in the
That's
Oval
like
Office, but
that's like that's funny you bring that up about how young you were comparatively speaking. I was talking to one of my tellers recently at my job, which now obviously I work at some type of credit union or bank, which I've given you too much already. And
turn it off, Gauka.
the teller was saying how I don't know how 9/11 came up, but they said like their first grade teacher wouldn't put it on the television, and I'm like, what? And they said my first grade teacher wouldn't put it on the television. He's like, can you believe she wouldn't do that? And I go, no. That is not what I said. What to? What I said what to was, you were in first grade when that happened.
I was in 5th grade, man.
And he said, yeah. And I go, I was a freshman in college.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It was my first semester in college, and the only class that wasn't canceled was U.S. history, which is hilarious.
That is
She
kinda
didn't.
wrong.
Not only did she not discuss it, she didn't turn the TV on. She didn't talk about it at all. I was in class when the second tower fell.
Yeah.
I didn't know what happened until I left class. On the way to class, people were all freaking out and said they couldn't be outside for too long because they were worried about what was going to happen. And I was the
Wasn't
dick.
anthrax like a worry?
Yeah. And I was the dick that was like, yeah, they're gonna come to Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. Yeah, batten down the hatches, everybody. They're coming here next.
My mom picked me up from school like at 2. It was like, you're coming home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, most people were. They were legitimately and
Yeah.
Well,
it's like one of the first attacks on American
yeah,
soil.
they were validated in their freak out. I should have been a little bit more careful, maybe, instead of just deciding that what I was going to do as soon as I woke up and saw this was like immediately get high as shit, because I just assumed all of my classes would be canceled. And then once the one wasn't, I went to that class super high. And then as soon as I left, the first thing I did was walk directly to my fraternity house, where I got more stoned.
Good times.
And watched it with my fraternity brothers, who all were like, what the shit is happening?
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Perspective.
Perspective, right? Perspective.
Yes.
Word of the day. And then there's a little star with a rainbow behind it. Ding-ding-ding. Perspective. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We started on this whole race thing, and we got off topic a lot,
And here we are,
which makes sense. We weren't talking about it at all. I mean, I don't know. It's a rough topic to talk about.
It is.
No matter who you are. I think
Yeah.
it's even more hard for two people in our positions to talk about, because I personally, I have never experienced a situation where race has affected me in a negative fashion ever.
Like, as in someone being like racist to you because
As
you're
in
white?
someone being racist to me, or even me seeing like a version of racism live. Right now, I've seen it on television. I've seen and heard it on the radio.
Yeah.
I've seen and heard it, like in stories and far off whispers, and I've seen and heard it from like family members or people I know being racist, but being racist in the sense of like they're in the confines of 6 other old white people, and the racism is confined.
Yeah,
Right?
that's mostly what I've seen. Once upon a time, back when I used to do lots and lots of drugs.
Hey, we got something in common.
Yeah, lots of drugs. Unfortunately, but buying said drugs, and I just want to make this perfectly clear before I continue any further. Everyone I bought drugs from has been pretty much equally white and pretty much equally
correct.
some sort of.
I would actually tell you that
minority.
almost every single time that I got marijuana when I was in college,
it's a white person.
it was always white dudes. It was always white guys I got it from, almost every single time. Even the couple times when I got into the harder stuff like coke and acid, especially acid. I never in my life got acid from a black gentleman.
See,
or black woman.
That's actually funny. Somewhere out there on someone's phone, hopefully it's gone by now, but there's a picture of me buying cocaine from a black guy. And again, I hope this never ever gets out.
Other than the fact that you just told everybody?
Well,
do I have to go back and do
like,
some serious editing?
No, you're fine.
Everybody knows who you are. You just admitted to
I'm
buying
Jesse.
cocaine.
I'm just on a Two Guys podcast. I'm engaged with fiance. But anyway, so I don't know if you've ever experienced this either, but like there, if there was a few times like they would make like. It was more so like Hispanic people actually that would like make fun of me basically for like being white and buying
for
drugs.
make fun of you for being white and buying drugs.
Yes.
So they're Hispanic drug dealers.
Yeah.
And you're purchasing drugs from them, and they're making fun of you in what fashion?
Just kind of being, I don't know, like it.
They call you a guapo, el guapo.
No, but like they would just. They basically would just like insinuate I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Right.
Which is mostly true.
Right. Well, it probably was mostly true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a white guy could have told me that when I was buying drugs when I was younger, and I wouldn't have known what was going on.
Yeah.
I would have no idea. There was a time period in my life where if you would have said to me, like, I'm going to give you this amount of, and I'm not going to go into it because I don't want anyone to know how much I know.
Yeah.
This amount of marijuana, and I'm going to sell it to you for $50.
Yeah.
I would say, yes, sir. and here's your $50. Would you like a check, or would you like some money that I could get from my ATM? How about just my ATM card? Would you like my PIN number? Like, there was a lot of stupid things I did that I wouldn't do now, right? I mean, not just not do the drugs, but like not do or say the things that I did or said that.
And
right?
in retrospect, it also could have been because I'm fat too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fat as well, so I got a lot of stuff. I mean, great example, when I from 3rd grade to 6th grade, my girlfriend's name was Little Debbie to all the children.
Wait, like you had a girlfriend named Debbie? Or
No, I
like
didn't. They said my girlfriend was Little Debbie because it was the snack cakes.
Ooh, it stings.
Yeah, it stings. Still hurts. Still hurts this day, Jesse. Still hurts.
See, pretty much in elementary school, I'm pretty sure like all the kids I went to elementary school with thought I was gonna like shoot the school up or something like that. Like, 'cause
you were like the quiet kid.
I didn't talk to anyone.
Okay,
barely.
yeah,
Like,
you were gonna murder everybody.
Yeah, it was
Murder could still be coming too. You don't know. There's reunions.
Cool.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
But like I mean, I don't know. Have you ever experienced, other than that? Would you say you've ever experienced like any kind of direct racism or racist tendencies that were negatively affected you or negatively impacted you?
Racism kind of like whenever I see someone actually being serious about racism, it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Like, someone I'm very close with is super, super duper bigoted against Muslims. Just doesn't believe they deserve to be.
Well, that's sad.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And I feel real bad. Like, it's just and they acknowledge that it's not right too.
Oh, so they even know it isn't right. Yeah. So that's even worse.
Yeah, but like
honestly,
that's it. And
yeah.
There's no getting through to them. There's no, like talking to them. It's a sad situation. So I've never seen, at least in my experience, like I've never seen anyone seriously like. I've heard people like say like shitty things about African Americans.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard shitty things about that, about Hispanics, about Jewish people, Jewish isn't really racism. It's,
or
religious,
bigoted, or
bigoted
whatever
nonsense. Still bigot.
Yeah.
Still being a bigot.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I fall, because I guess, like, obviously different races can be Muslim.
Yeah, and you know what? I can't honestly tell you, like, if we're sitting here talking about this, I can't honestly tell you that I don't stop those people. I mean, I can't sit here and honestly tell you that every single time that I've heard or been in a situation where someone's being bigoted towards someone, I don't stop them. Like, I don't say anything. Because I generally don't.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of, for me, and it's almost not worth it in a sense. I mean, like, it sucks that it's happening, and, like...
See, and therein lies the problem, man. It should be worth it. See, I wish it was more worth it to me, and maybe I need to make a better effort in my life to talk to these people and ask, like, why? What makes you want to do this?
I guess it depends on my comfort level with the person. Like the person I'm close with, I don't really talk about it anymore because it doesn't really get. It's kind of like a no touch zone.
Yeah.
But I did for like years. We would just debate about it forever and ever and
Right.
ever and ever.
It would just
and I
maybe
think
go
if it was
nowhere.
someone like if I was like comfortable with it, I was like really like, what the fuck's your problem?
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing. But it's just like mostly people at like parties and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be. See, I think that the problem too is like if you know me well enough, you've ever been around me and been around me in a situation where I'm with a lot of my friends, we are going to joke about things like this. There are going to be jokes said that are extremely taboo and extremely rude and extremely over the line, and a third party, unbiased individual could very easily mistake all of that for bigotry and mistake all of that for intense, real racism, sexism, ageism, religious, whatever, intolerance. Like it could, someone could very easily get all that out of there very easily. Yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't say I'm proud of that, but like I said before, like I like to think that the reason I'm doing that is because that I think that those topics are all so ridiculous that I can joke about it, that I can make a joke about it because it's a ludicrous premise in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I one of my close friends, I mean, he's far more liberal than either of us.
Good for him. We should have him on.
You know what? I thought about it actually, but maybe for another time.
We need to put a microphone in front of his face and ask him about things like this, and then just just put our microphones down, and let him talk.
It could make for good conversation points actually. Maybe I'll ask him about it, but regardless, when I first started hanging out or like around with him, like I would always make like I do the like Jeff Foxworthy voice, and I'll make like stupid racist comments that aren't actually like me saying
the southern accent. Yeah.
Like, oh, I bet he has a gun, or like some shit like that. And he thought I was being like kind of serious.
Oh yeah. Did he?
Yeah.
Did he say something to you?
Yeah. He finally was like, so like, are you just saying that to be funny, or like, do you actually honestly believe that? And I was like, no, I don't fucking believe that. Like,
well, that's
interesting.
interesting.
Me being
See, that's the risk you're running. The risk you run by doing stuff like that. I mean,
And I would say like a good like 95% of people I'm around that I'd like say that sort of shit with, like they know I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
But
well, let's hope so. I mean, I would love to keep talking about this, but we're coming up on an hour, and I think we. I don't want to say we covered everything because race is.
There's a lot of shit.
The racial topic is something that could be covered in multiple podcasts, really, because it's just an hour of our day, and a more likely hour of our week, because we're just doing this once a week. So to say that that's all we could cover, this is complete and total bullshit. But it's all we're going to cover, because we got to wrap this up, and do other things with our lives that don't involve us speaking into big dick-shaped things. In front of you. Every week I say that. You always want to try to put your mouth around it. Is that just a reaction? It's just a
shit.
Just a response.
Blue's growling.
He's going ham. Oh. He probably just heard us mocking our feet and he thinks it's the door. That's what he does. So anyway, before my dog goes crazy and murders one or both of us, he laid back down. He no longer cares about our safety. He cared about our safety for 2 seconds, realized it might have been us, and immediately laid back down. Yeah. Thanks for the protection, Baloo. No help at all. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have. I guess that's really it. I mean, normally we like to end on, what I recommend. What I recommend.
Yeah,
so we can do that. We can end on what I recommend.
Let's keep that up.
What I recommend. We said last week we were talking about what to watch, and we did TVs and movies.
Yeah.
So why don't we do what I recommend to hear? So what I listen to. We talked about some podcasts already you like. So what would you recommend that are massive following of 2 to 4 people listen to other than this episode and the first episode?
Okay. Well, Jim Jeffries just came out with a new stand-up special on Netflix. If you are a fan of his work. There's quite a few who might not hate it at all. Basically, you have to like take everything he says with a grain of salt, or else you'll just be super offended.
Okay. So he's very offensive, like what we're saying before. About.
Yeah. He rips a lot into America all the time. He's Australian.
Well, I don't want to hear some convict.
Yeah. It's not like he doesn't like make fun of like America as a whole, but he makes fun of people being stupid about America.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
And he hates fucking religion, which
right up my alley.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but right up my alley.
He actually hits on this a little. I'm more of an agnostic. I kind of go with the flow, but
yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. So I think it was. If you liked his other stuff, you'll probably like it too. I thought it was pretty funny. He does a good bit about vaccinations and Bill Cosby. So not vaccinations and Bill Cosby at the same time, but
same thing.
But he does a good bit about that. And then
that's really what he was doing to those girls. He wasn't trying to rape them. He was vaccinating them.
Yeah,
been vaccinating all you bitches.
What about you?
I mean, for me, what I'd ask people to listen to is. Go out and find a good local band. Failing that, I'll give you a couple ideas. Some of this stuff's going to be a little metally, so it may not be for everybody. Beartooth, I really like Beartooth a lot. I know that's not a local band around here. They're more of a national band. But a local band around here that actually I went to high school with this gentleman. His name's Dan. He is in a band called TJ Kong. And I would suggest that you look them up online. They're very good. It's like a alternative rock type of situation. Yeah. It's not really like metal. It's not metal. It's very much it's like Mumford & Sons if it wasn't stupid and terrible like Mumford & Sons is. It's like think about that music and then think about it done well.
Mumford & Sons is actually one of our corporate sponsors. So
I'm going to go ahead and pull that. Okay. I'm sorry, Mumford & Sons.
Actually, that brings to mind. I went to high school with these guys. I was actually pretty good friends with the guitar player / singer for quite a few years. Good dude. But the band Marathon. Also, super great band.
Look into them.
Great music. They play a lot of stuff, and I'm kind of like Central Pennsylvania. I think I see they do Hershey and Harrisburg a lot.
Look up Marathon.
As well as Philly. They do Philly a lot.
There you go.
If you're a Philly head,
look up that group Marathon if you have the time.
Also more like alternative, progressive. Some of the stuff won't be for you, but some of the stuff is really good.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, we want to give Pops were, credit where credit's due.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a little rub, a little of the two guys talking podcast rub, which will get them 1 to 2 more people listening to their things.
Yeah, there you go.
Possibly none. Possibly no new people.
Yeah,
possibly no rub whatsoever.
It's possible, yeah.
Speaking of no rub whatsoever, you plugged something last week, and I helped you plug it, and then you lied to everyone. About it being a thing at the comedian club.
Oh,
you're a dirty liar, and I want you to explain yourself.
So I totally plugged myself about. I plugged myself.
You did.
About doing the stand-up at the Guy Walks Into a Bar open mic, but it was July 4th this Monday, so I was unable to do it.
Yeah.
But so this
next coming Monday.
Yeah.
Which would be July 12th.
July 12th.
Is that right?
We'll find out here in a second.
It's not July 12th. It's July, 11th?
11th?
Because 7 plus 4 is 11.
Let's see here. So if we do the math, yes, you are correct. The 11th. July 11th.
So July 11th in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Yes, at the Lizard Lounge Chameleon Club.
At 8 p.m.
At 8 p.m. I sincerely apologize if you went.
So if anybody went and didn't see Jesse there, and you go this Monday, I encourage you to boo him loudly as soon as he gets on stage. Once they announce, and you don't know what he looks like because this podcast is not seen over, a thing. But as soon as you hear anyone named Jesse, that's a male that gets up on stage, you boo them right away because they are whoever one of them is bound to be a dirty liar.
Terrible.
That lied to you.
Terrible person, not Jesse.
See how I got that in by making fun of you, but I still was able to give you a little bit of a pop, right?
Good. I liked
we still ran a promo even though I called you a dick.
Well, I liked it. It was good.
It was good.
It felt nice.
Yeah, it felt good. We all felt good together, right?
Yeah, just in this big old hot tub of feeling good.
Hot tub of feeling good. All right, so we're going to end this right around the same time we ended last time. I think we were at 105, so 105 is a good place to let off
good
again.
Stuff.
So in the end, thank you for listening again. Hashtag
course.
welcome to the network.
Yes, hashtag welcome to the network.
That doesn't make any sense if you don't know we're sponsored by our subsidiary and mothership, Sloppdawgs Podcast Network,
Yes.
which does have a Google page that this gentleman over here is also a dirty liar about keeping up on and fancying up because
I
he's
haven't touched
a
it
dirty
at all.
liar.
Yeah,
He's a dirty
it's been a
lying
while.
liar.
Possibly, I'm working on a few things to get our stuff on iTunes. So if anyone knows anything about that,
Yeah, and then I should
help
probably
me
work
with
on
it.
getting us on Stitcher and Podomatic and Podomatic and all
There's
that bullshit.
Yeah, all that.
I should
crazy
try to do all that instead of just
shit.
putting it on YouTube with pictures.
Yeah, I mean, I like the pictures, but
I like the pictures.
yeah, but
Yeah, maybe one day we'll do it live over Google Hangout so you can see our faces.
that'd be cool.
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
Well, until next time, thank you all for listening. Hopefully we're back for episode 2, volume 1. And maybe we'll have that super liberal guy here, or maybe we won't. Who knows?
yeah, I'll ask him about it.
Let's hope he doesn't come. I hope he doesn't come.
Yeah, me too. He's a dick.
Are we going to say sponsored by Chick-fil-A then again at the end here?
Sponsored by Mumford and Sons.
Mumford & Sons,
Yeah.
corporate sponsor, Mumford
Yes,
& Sons.
Exactly. Have a good day.
Yes, thanks for listening. Hashtag welcome to the network.